And welcome back to LinkedIn Logs, the jobs podcast, the business podcast for the website, cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website, go there. Here we are, new year, new jobs. Welcome back in. I got an email from Humble Bundle. If you're wondering why I looked down at my watch, if you're watching the videos, we're at episode 59. I don't know why I opened this email. I have to cancel a membership or pause it, as they force you to do. Can't cancel it. It's ridiculous. I am fresh from the dog park. Maverick was running around. He had all the energy in the history of the world, and he still has the energy. He still pulled me back here. He has so much energy that you can't hear this, because I would hope that my microphone isn't picking this up. But he has so much energy that we got back home 5 minutes ago. I go use the facilities. And I come back out, sit down and do this show. And my, why I hope you can't hear, my microphone can pick up. The maintenance workers of the apartment coming by with their carts, making noise all up and down the hallway. This guy starts barking. So I just said, I got to put you in the crate if you're not going to be compliant. He still has that much energy. And you know what? I'm gonna timestamp this episode. I mean, it comes out the day I record it most of the time. Jimmy Carter was laid to rest. He was lying in state at his presidential museum, which is a 10-minute walk from here, a 3-minute bike ride. It's very close. We leave where I live. I'm not gonna say where. It's obviously not a house. But we leave where we live, me and Maverick. And as soon as we hit the street, we hear sirens. And I'm going, oh, it must be, a police officer or a ambulance or something. Get outside. It's 2 cop cars and a mobile patrol unit van, giant, huge. Almost like a SWAT size van, if you've ever seen one of those. But it says APD on it. Yeah, APD. They're all blaring their sirens, going down the street, like together, going down the street. And I immediately go, oh, it's the Jimmy Carter. Like they're escorting Jimmy Carter's remains. About 5 minutes later, we walk to the dog park. Or we're at the dog park. 10 or so minutes later, doesn't matter. You can probably guess where I live if you know the maps. We're at the dog park, and I see more police escorts. This time with 3 charter buses. And I immediately go, put together, because they're coming from that area. And I go, oh, that's like his family. That's being chartered. They're all going to fly on. I believe I saw this on CNN. They're all going to fly on I forgot what plane. Flying on a special plane, and they're all going to Washington right now. By the time I'm recording this at 1:16, they're probably there. I don't know how close. How long is a flight from Atlanta to Washington? D.C. ATL to D.C. No, I just want to know the time. Flight time. Okay, there we go. 1 hour 45. So I don't know. That jet must be, no, not a jet, but the plane that they're on must be flying pretty hard. Anyway, I'm hungry. I have to record this show, and at some point I have to do a third workout. So that's why I'm doing this episode right now. In the intervening weeks of me not doing this show, I believe we took 2 weeks off. 2 whole weeks. Or 3 weeks. When's the last time I did this? December 27th is when I uploaded the episode to the website. So that's not it. So probably a week before that. Or maybe that week. Or maybe that day. What's been going on? Not much. We've got some things that are happening in the entertainment industry that are pointing to a lot of consolidation, which we knew what was going to happen. We knew that was going to happen. We're in a moment of time. I can hear Maverick whining in there because he can hear me talking. Sometimes when I get up in the morning for the gym at 3:45 now, excuse me, I moved it up 5 minutes. He is fully awake and he's like looking at me. I'm like, dude, I got nothing for you. And he'll be like, why don't you take him out? Because then he'll get used to it. Hey, do you want to wake up on Saturday at 3:45 to wake up to take out a dog? Because I sure don't. Anyway, we knew it was going to happen. We knew it was going to be layoffs, consolidation, all that stuff. I mean, we just saw, and I'll talk about this in the constitutionals later this week, but we just saw Disney buy Fubo TV, and they're merging it with Hulu with Live TV. It's going to be separate services for now. I predict in 3 years, it'll be one service. And it will still cost $100. I can hear him, and it's annoying. Go let him out. I'm not going to do it. I'm already knuckle deep in this episode. Jesus Christ. We have new layoffs. This comes from The Wrap via Sean Birch. Washington Post lays off roughly 100 employees. This comes after, I believe Kara Swisher is offering to do something with the Washington Post. Let me confirm that because I don't know. I literally just saw the podcast episode. It says Kara's Washington Post bid. Let's see. Kara talks about assembling a group to make a bid for the Washington Post, and why she believes a fresh approach to the business is needed. She was on PBS NewsHour last night talking about the Washington Post and how Jeff Bezos is. At first, he was good. He was good at being a hands-on boss, but now he's hands-off, and them not endorsing a candidate was a negative thing, and all those people quitting, all those higher ups quitting because of the non-endorsement. So it seems to me that she is looking to. Well, she wants to assemble a team, and they're all going to put in some money to buy WaPo from Jeff Bezos. Kara Swisher's smart. She can help turn that business around, even if she's going to be somebody who can shepherd it for a couple of years. But she can find the right people. She can help find the right people to do the day-to-day business on that. And she said something important during PBS NewsHour last night that I'm just now remembering. She says that unlike the New York Times, Washington Post doesn't have other things to help buoy it. New York Times doesn't just sell subscriptions anymore. They also have games. They also have cooking. And they also have intermittently video. And they also have great interactive stories. I was going to say digital stories, but that's not the word I was looking for. 4% of its workforce has been cut, with those roughly 100 employees being laid off. People in advertising, marketing, and information technology were the ones affected. For now, we'll see what happens at some point in the future. I just got an email from, remember when I was hit by a car? I just got an email from the hospital. I'm trying to negotiate the payment. I was hit by a car July 4th, and the person who hit me had very bad insurance. Anyway, I'm trying to negotiate the payment to pay the hospital, and the financial company they use does not do payment plans, which is insane. They're asking me to pay more than my rent in a reduced payment. But that's insane. My rent is expensive. The Washington Post said the same boilerplate thing, changes across our business functions are all in service of our greater goal to best position the Post for the future. Note that in 2024, there were about 15,000 jobs that were just wiped out in broadcast, television, film, news, streaming. There have been a lot of layoffs in the industry in the past couple of years. This comes after Jeff Bezos said the outlet, quote, made the right decision not to endorse a candidate during the 2024 U.S. election. This is the first time in 36 years that they did not do that. If the Post were to endorse Kamala Harris, Bezos noted that, quote, the pluses were small and that it would add to a perception of bias. Anyway. The former executive editor, Marty Baron, called it cowardice. These layoffs are going to keep coming until there's some type of stableness at the companies, not even within the industry, at the companies. For Wall Street Journal, for Warner Brothers Discovery, there's still cuts happening. And we're also seeing, God, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm lost for words. This is what happens when I'm hungry. We're also seeing, they don't have as many jobs as they used to have posted to their websites. When Paramount and Skydance merge, if the FTC says, if the government says it's okay, we're going to see more layoffs, even though Paramount has already had probably more layoffs than Disney and Warner Brothers and Fox in the past couple of years. And with these layoffs, getting jobs outside of the industry, transitioning jobs, is so difficult. I know I have that trouble, so that's why I stick with what I know. I've already had, I'm 31 years old. I've already had not a lot of stable jobs, but a lot of jobs in the industry, plus this portfolio BS. When I go to apply to positions that are not entertainment media based, don't get it twisted. I am unable to get anything. I can even get looked at in other places. And don't, change the resume. Do this, that. It's. I'm telling you, it's tough. And we'll point to this in a second. But the pivot is so difficult. The deeper you're in, unless you know somebody who says, "Hey, we're gonna get you in," it's tough. And you people outside of the industry, of the entertainment industry, do not know. I can't just go to a job and apply for a social media position, because now people are going to school for social media. There's kids that are better at social media than I am. I'm an adult. I don't need to go on TikTok. This comes from Katie Kilkenny at The Hollywood Reporter. Struggling entertainment workers are fleeing Hollywood, but some employers balk at showbiz backgrounds. It's very much true. This chronicles people like Paulina Williams, who have 20 years of experience on shows like Laguna Beach, The Real Orange County, and Big Brother, trying to pivot outside of the shift that's happening in the entertainment industry. Between the first quarters of 2022 and 2024, remember those are the strikes, the SAG, the writers' strike, what was that, 18 months, something like that? Employment in California's film, television, and sound sector dropped by nearly 30%, according to Otis College of Art and Design Research. This year, production levels are still sagging behind their pre-strike highs. On location filming in the LA area during the third quarter of 2024 dropped more than 36% compared to the 5-year average of the same period. While production volume across the U.S. dropped 35% in the third quarter of 2024 compared to the same period in 2022 before the strikes. I believe California is now giving more incentives for shooting in California, but everything is either shifting to Atlanta, to smaller places that are going to offer more money, or overseas. Young Rock, the TV show about The Rock growing up at 3 different stages of his life, didn't shoot on location where it said it took place. They didn't go to Miami. They weren't in Memphis. They were in Georgia at some places. I don't know. I what looked to be is like, the outskirts. There's not even suburbs, but like Fayetteville, areas like that. They also shot in New Zealand because it was cheaper to be in New Zealand. The same thing goes for Rob Lowe's show The Floor on Fox. That's, I believe, in New Zealand as well. And they say, like for Young Rock, they're like, this is Memphis. I'm like, no, it's not. Or this is Florida. No, it's not. Now we have things like AI to be reckoning with. Job seekers are wondering whether having entertainment credits on their resumes helps or hurts their chances of finding other work. Some have noticed hesitation on the part of select employers due to their showbiz backgrounds, which they attribute to perception that they are just looking for temporary jobs during a contraction. When I was laid off from Cartoon Network, I tried to go work at was this Cartoon Network or was this Bounce TV? It might have, no, because it wasn't during the pandemic. It was after the pandemic. When I was laid off from Cartoon Network, I went to my local GNC, and the manager there brought me in for an interview, and she looked at my resume. She's like, you're good. I can see you getting the job. I don't want to teach you, and then like in 2 weeks you leave me. I was like, honey, if I knew I was getting something in 2 weeks, I would not be here. What was after Cartoon Network? CNN. But that took 6 or so months. Did that? Yeah, it did. Anyway. So they have this thought that we're going to leave at any moment because, hey, a movie's being made. I'm going to get that job. That's not how the entertainment industry works. The Entertainment Community Fund Career Center's managing director, Elena Muslar, has seen entertainment workers sometimes react to difficulties like these simply by omitting their experience in the business, creating gaps in their resume. So that means oftentimes people are, if they've done 10 or so or 5 or so years worth of entertainment industry jobs, but they want to leave it off their resume, that means, they have manager at Staples and then nothing for 5 years. And then it says, open, I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to do something. It's par for the course when you're starting out as an actor, as a comedian, as a musician. Hey, I'm serving at a restaurant. I'm working at a store. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. But now there's a lot of factors that go into, there's a lot of people going in for the same stuff. There's contraction in the industry. There's things that are affecting how we get jobs. And so now people are having to do regular jobs. I don't want to say regular, but like jobs that they don't want to longer. I worked in a factory for a long time. A long time compared to how long I've been, I've been doing this for 10 years, 11 years. I worked in a factory for a minute. I'll say that much. I was thinking about that this morning. This is before, like Bluetooth headphones used to be. The pair I'm wearing now, this is even nicer than what was available back then. Also, we couldn't have Bluetooth headphones. So it was just a lot of slave labor just working on it. It's not an assembly line, on a conveyor belt. Just hearing the machines. I'm doing really good with Foley work too. For about a year, Caitlin Saltzman, the head of scripted at Wilmer Valderrama's production company, WV Entertainment, has worked a side hustle that complements her day job during the double strikes in 2023. As she saw friends being laid off and had a lot more time on her hands, the executive decided to develop both the hobby and an additional professional skill set. She ended up taking an activity that she had pursued since high school, photography. Well, it's good for her. Veteran makeup artist Alexis Walker, just go with it, knocked up, has developed a business as a professional coach with a special focus on Hollywood workers looking to pivot. Pretty good. In this work, she found two main themes: clients looking for ways to apply their skills in a new field and to strike a, quote, balancing act of straddling two worlds. When the pandemic happened, like slightly before the pandemic happened, I was seeing a therapist, and before that, I tried to contact somebody who I thought was a therapist, but it turned out she was just a life coach. Advertising on Psychology Today, and turned out she was a life coach. But I remember when the pandemic happened, and it was like maybe March or April, and everybody was inside. She dared to say, because I never went with her. I was like, oh no, I'm sorry, I thought you were something else. And she goes, oh okay, well if you ever need life coaching, just not hit me up. But she's like, get in contact with me. I was like, all right, cool. Then cut to April. We're all inside, and she sends me an email. So you're looking for any life coach things? like no. I can afford a life coach. Although, again, I was still going to work. One of 5 people. Now, as we look at resumes, as we look at people who are taking their skills outside the Hollywood area, Hollywood land, do job references still matter? This comes from Sally Herships, Darian Woods, Julia Richte, and Kate Concannon. This is an episode of The Indicator from Planet Money. Oftentimes, when I'm applying to positions within the industry, they're no longer asking for references. Warner Brothers, Paramount, Disney, Fox, no one's asking. A couple of years ago, they were. I think even more recently, I've been, in the past couple of years, I'd apply to jobs at companies like Vox, and oh God, where else? Because I know Vox definitely does it, and The Verge, I believe. I think they are maybe all the same company. Anyway, but I know for sure Vox, they definitely ask for references. And then as you go to more businessy jobs, those for sure ask for references. Although there are the occasional positions that don't. And whenever I come across them, I'll say more recently I have not seen references, but occasionally I still do. But I know when I come across them, I go to the same 3 references. I have to look up there. I know a lot of people's numbers by heart just because I'm 6, 7, 8. Oh my gosh. But I can't imagine a company going out of their way and going and calling up, my stepdad. It's like, hey, this is Broderick-Hauser, how is Chad White? And I'll say he's my supervisor, my old supervisor. He's like, oh yeah, Chad's good. I can't imagine that happening. I know when I used to be a dog walker, And after working at 11 Alive, WXA, NBC News, after working there, I was no, was that after? Oh God, that was before. Excuse me. When I was a dog, yeah, because I didn't live in the city and I was coming down to the city. So before I got my first entertainment industry job, my first news job, I was this very slippery 22-year-old boy driving down the city to walk dogs for $8 per walk. No money at all. That company, Pup Walker, is now failed, obviously. They used to lie. I know I've told the story before, but they used to lie and say like, "Oh, you can make $16 an hour." Like, no, but walks are 30 minutes each, and they put you usually 20 minutes, a 20-minute drive away from the last walk. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Pup Walker is dead. But I used to walk dogs, and there's another company, Rover, obviously. But when you apply to Rover, they ask for references. I know that I think Pup Walker asked for references. And then there's also, but it was crazy because like Rover would, I left a job at a pet food store before becoming a dog walker. I left a job at a pet food store in Roswell, and so I was shifting to becoming that dog walker so I could go closer to the city so I could apply to jobs. Again, I was still living in the suburbs, about a 40-minute drive with good traffic. And I put down the store owner as a reference for Rover. Like, yeah, I've worked with dogs before. I don't know if he gave me a good review, but I know my mom definitely was like, what is this Rover thing? why are they texting me? And they would like text and email. Also, I want to say I do not like it when jobs text or email you, because sometimes I'll get a text from a number, it's like 721, and I go, why is this area code texting me? Like, I'll get it'll be like a Kansas area code, or it'll be like a Chicago, and I'm like, who do I know? And I'll think it's somebody who's trying to reach out to me, and I'll say, hey, and I know it's spam. Like, hey, you still in the market for a job? And I have to block it. Or follow up with your text us 6 answers why you want to be a mail carrier at this company. Like, no. Also, I would never apply to be a mail carrier. When I worked at Starbucks in the CNN Center, when CNN was still there, all these companies would all these companies Jesus Christ, I call, when people are on field trips, when people were visiting with their family, I call them companies. I call just a big gaggle of people companies, a big group of people companies. And but when I was at the CNN Center working at Starbucks, the person whose job I took, he went to go work at CNN in the mailroom, and he had no experience in the news industry. I believe he was, I don't know. I don't want to guess what this person's life is, but I remember specifically he had no experience. And I remember his last day was like my first day, and I was like, "How'd you get that job?" And he's like, "I just kept asking. I kept applying and asking." And I was like, "Wow." I used to work at NBC. I used to work NBC News. I used to work at the Weather Channel. Who do I talk to? Because I would fit into CNN. And he's like, I don't know. And he just was keeping the secret to himself. It was ridiculous. And also, I knew somebody who was a production assistant. She was a year older than me, and we worked together at a restaurant in Roswell, in like my sophomore going to my junior year, I think. I don't remember that. But anyway, it was like for a whole summer. It was my first serving position. And we became friends, and she went to UGA, and obviously she graduated before me, and she was getting, production assistant jobs here in the city. And then I graduated from college and was working in that factory, and I was always like texting her like, hey, how'd you get the job? And how do you get these jobs? And she did not reply to me for maybe like a couple of them. And then maybe like the third or fourth time I messaged her, she was just like, I don't know, just keep applying. That's it. And then we never spoke again. Like, come on. I do my best. If someone asks me for advice or help, I'm going to do my best. I give all the answers I can. But it was like after that summer, we were no longer friends or friends. And then she moved to, I guess, to California to do that, like to get that job, to get those jobs more often or something like that. Anyway, that's nothing important. But I interviewed, she eventually became like production assistant head or something like that. I don't know. She does something, and she often worked here in Atlanta and there in LA with people like Jason Bateman and Julia Gardner, just like not Gardner, Julia Gardner, the blonde one, the younger blonde one. And like getting like and like doing productions, she became friendly with them and like literally posting Instagram show photos. This I'm telling way too long of a story for a job podcast. But she the first time we spoke in years was like 3 or 4 months ago, because I interviewed a producer who works with Jason Bateman for C+ Comedy for this website, and she was like, "Oh, that guy's great. He's a gem." I literally see the last message we had together from like 10 years ago. Why are you? Anyway. Also, I ran into her, 2022 in person in this neighborhood. And she's like, "I'm moving to California." I'm like, "Oh, good for you." I had to fight my way from the bottom. And now I'm in the middle. Barely. Anyway, do job references matter? No, because no one's asking for them anymore. So it doesn't make sense for job references to be even considered. Because the only people I should give job references about or with or against, I don't know, should be my enemies. It should be the people. I was about to say a name. I was about to say 2 names. It should be the people from Bounce TV who laid me off during the pandemic and who got promotions. It should be the woman at the Weather Channel who sent somebody else to tell me that my contract was canceled or not being renewed. It should be I should put those people down. It should be the woman at CNN who texted me that my contract was not being renewed. That's who it should be. It should be your enemies. Not somebody who's going to be like, the generic hard worker. He's great. Oftentimes I would put down the Google Voice number that's associated with C+ Comedy. I never got a phone call, but I would put like a fake name. Herbert Jordelson. That's how you pronounce it. Jordelson. He is a pro swimmer. Oh my gosh. But job references don't matter. I think as somebody who has a portfolio to show my body of work, from my writing to my skills of interviewing, podcasting, editing video, I believe that should stand for what I do, and not, how cool my Instagram is or where I went to school or if I'm a part of a fraternity or a Greek life organization or anything else that's extraneous. It should all be a part of the job function. But nepotism is real. Listen, if you like what you heard here, head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where you can, see me talk to a bunch of famous people sometimes. If you want to watch a video version of the show, you can head on over to youtube.com/cpluscomedy. We can also watch video versions of the other podcasts, Late Night Lately, the Late Night Show, and the Constitutionalist Podcast, the Entertainment Business News Podcast. Subscribe to all of those shows wherever you get your podcasts as well. You can watch me do interviews as well on youtube.com/comedy. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky at C Plus Comedy, me on those platforms at Chad Black White. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you later. Bye.